Alright, I need to call out this plot hole, man. This girl's logic is incredibly flawed. I thought so since the show started. I mean, she really could have just not done the overtime. If other people can push off the work, screw it, why not her? But hey, you know what? She's worried about job security. This girl started the episode off with her boss saying, if you defeat me, I will guarantee your job for life. Tenure. You want to know what that means? It is practically impossible to fire her. Those teachers with like lifelong positions, once they get tenure, they could not show up for 2 weeks and still have their job come the following Monday morning. She defeats him, gets guaranteed job security, and she still is able to be swayed because she's worried about overtime. She's worried about having to use PTO when she goes on the mission with the little group here. I guarantee you the guildmaster is going to be able to bribe her in continuously adventuring by just offering at face value more support for the receptionist, despite her not even being a receptionist most of the time. I'm sure there's going to be people, well, she doesn't want to push the work on other people. Doesn't matter. She could take as long as she wants, be as lazy as she wants. And I don't even think we could argue it's like a case of, well, she wants to make sure all the no, like her entire motivation is she wants the 9 to 5 guaranteed job for life, good benefits, simple life. In that case, it doesn't matter if you're years behind in your work, you got tenure, baby. And the best part is no one's going to call this out to her and she's never going to realize this on her own. I think she's an incredibly intelligent person who's not very good with common sense. And that makes this show incredibly enjoyable, and I truly look forward to questioning her decisions for this entire run. Because I've already been questioning her decisions, like, girl, I understand the idea of your 9 to 5, but it clearly hasn't been it for a long time. Go get any other job. I'm truly baffled by her behavior in the best possible way. And no one's going to convince me that her wanting to do overtime or worried about the workload at this point, given that she has guaranteed job security for life, makes sense. It doesn't, but it's hilariously entertainment gold. Anyway, if you want to support my work, see my full thoughts to these comedy gold episodes, do a full live reactions over on Patreon if you're so interested. So, easily the best episode. A lot of really interesting information. First things first, Rufus got done in. Praise the anime gods. That dude, I mean, it only would have been better is if our girl clobbered him with her hammer. But, you know, this is why you don't work with dark gods and skeletons who offer you ultimate power. It's not going to work out in your favor. But it was a very enjoyable episode that I think set in motion a lot of different things. I think my favorite part next to my questionable, why are you still doing overtime, Baka, is the backstory. So the first flashback we get is her as a kid, and there's a dead body, you know, there's a little cut on the glove. I'm not thinking too much of it, but I'm like, oh, that's interesting. She has PTSD from seeing a body as a child. Makes sense. Turns out deeper than just that. She originally wanted to be a adventurer. And, you know, there was this guy who she would, you know, help serve at like the little bar that she was working at when she was a kid. I guess her mother or whatever worked there. I don't know. Either way. You know, and she'd be like, you know, I'm going to come adventuring with you someday. Cut to the next scene and she notices it's him because of the glove, right? And that's tragic. It is. And it's interesting because this dude was the one who kind of set it in her mind that, no, you should be a guild receptionist. A nice, simple job, no danger, very comfy. And she's like, no, I'm going to go be like you. Cut to seeing him dead. It's no wonder why she got so gung-ho about the guild receptionist life. And I'll say this, with how her overtime and shit had been at the start up until this episode, I would be like, go work at a flower shop. Like, go do anything else. Like, the workload, at a certain point, the money or benefits comes to a point where you realize the mental health drain is not worth. It makes a lot more sense why she's so determined to stick to the guild receptionist life, given that a part of her always wanted to be an adventurer, saw what that can do to people, on top of the fact that someone she looked up to wanted her to do so. So that makes it a lot more sense. And that's why I'm thinking to myself, girl, you got tenure, baby. Your boss literally says you can't. She has a aura of can't touch this. You could literally tell everyone to F off and come in Monday morning and they're gonna make you coffee. But anyway, really liked what they did there, and I also liked how they allowed her to go adventuring with them and just the logic behind it. They were setting up such cool things too. So it's very rare, especially in anime. Now, if you actually D&D campaigns, hell, Baldur's Gate, stuff like that, like, yeah, you get more multiple mages and stuff in parties, but for the most part, your generic build of an adventure party is a tank, an archer, usually, some sort of mage, and then maybe like a standard, warrior, potentially, or maybe like a more up close and personal rogue. Like a lot of, like, that's usually the makeup. But we have 2 mages in this one. One's white magic healer, one's, long range, more combat focused. I thought that was interesting. She immediately one-shots the thing in question. And they're like, it just, like, it's thinking back to, like, when you're in school and that one person does all of the work in a group project, but you all get credit for it. You're like, did I deserve that? I'm just not gonna say anything. And obviously death flags were raised when they're like, hey, you're not gonna come with us, because Rufus was causing a ruckus. He was basically throwing a temper tantrum. I knew Rufus was a scumbag, but yeah, the fact that he's essentially stabbing his party in the back and then does it again a second time, only to literally have the Dark Gods say no exceptions. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm hoping she gets there in time. It's very clear she'll be the one to tap that bitch to know tomorrow. I'm interested what's gonna happen, because after she does this, is the gimmick gonna be that she truly is like, no, I'm staying a guild receptionist, or is she gonna be like, maybe sometimes I can go adventuring with you guys, I kind of like it. I think that would be more interesting, because rather than letting the gimmick grow stale, her slowly reaching the point of, no, I actually do like going adventuring, I used to want to do this before, insert sad backstory, and her slowly maybe leaving the guild receptionist life behind, but still having that cushy job to go back to if she wants to, would be funny, on top of obviously laying in the paperwork because she doesn't realize she could push the overtime to the newbies. She literally could. She is, I will never let that die. But either way, like, the show's actually intelligent. It's very fun with how they write things, and I think the frustration surrounding her character and sometimes her decisions, it's so great because she just truly lacks common sense. Though I guess this episode does confirm there is insurance in this world, because they say that her house is being repaired. I get being upset that your house was destroyed, but why in the previous episode was she acting like she'll never live in her house again? Unless maybe the guild's doing it for her? I don't know, there's a lot of question about this girl, but she's our lovable idiot, what can I say? Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this week's episode. What did you think, and what do you hope to see with episode 4 next week? Do let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Sebastian Just, Keegan Miller, Aldiosium, Jan Peterson, Hune, Zeekster, and we also have Refac972, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you'll have a good one.